Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back for another review of The Leftovers. I'm doing this for the Last Review Show. You can find us on lastreviewshow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Last Review Show. You can find us on SoundCloud, and of course, if you're checking this on YouTube, you already know that. But please do subscribe. This time I'm talking about the second episode of The Leftovers called Don't Be Ridiculous. And it's also always a little bit tricky, to see, also a little bit, I'm also skeptical often about the second episode of a season because there's always a lot of work obviously goes into a season premiere, especially for a final season, I think, of a series. And then sometimes when the premiere is great, the second episode falls flat. But in this instance, it's definitely not the case. And I must say that episode 2 of the final season of The Leftovers, called Don't Be Ridiculous, was a very strong episode yet again. So let's just quickly dive into what happened in that second episode. And of course talk about who were behind the episode. So it was directed by Keith Gordon. Written by the showrunners Tom Perrotta and Damon Lindelof. And Tom Perrotta is, as you well know, also the guy who wrote the book that this TV show is based on. Basically what happens, this episode focuses a lot on Nora. What happens is the man in the tower dies, and Nora goes to investigate because she immediately suspects that he is not departed, as some people are claiming, and as we know, because the episode opens with him falling off the tower, is that he actually didn't depart. But his wife, with the help of Matt and a few other people, are sort of saying that he has departed. Nora is, one, it's her job, of course, to look into departures, but secondly, she's very cynical when it comes to the departure and the beliefs people have since the departure. So she makes it her goal to discredit the scam and show people what actually happens. That she finds out that he in fact died of a heart attack, and she goes to the tower where people are having a sort of vigil / memorial for the man in the tower, and there she shows a picture she took of the man in the morgue. Typical Nora style. But more importantly, we focus a little bit more on how she is coping, with everything. We do find out that what happened with Lily. So apparently Christine came back for the child, sued for custody, and Nora didn't fight back because she felt it was the right thing to do for Lily to be with her real mother, despite how much it hurt for Nora, because in the departure she loses her children and then and her husband, and now Lily has really brought her happiness for her and Kevin, and now she loses Lily as well. So that's obviously devastating to Nora. So while she's a little bit reeling from everything and still trying to cope with the pain she has, she gets a phone call. And we see the guy again, the actor who was in Perfect Strangers, I think it was. And we saw him before when he pretended to depart. And now we learn a little bit more about why he did that, because Nora meets him in a hotel because he claims that he can reunite her with her children. So Nora goes to investigate again because that's what she does. And he tells her that he's the only one of the cast of his TV show who hasn't departed, so he feels left out, to say the least. Nora doesn't believe him, and she believes, because he works for an organization that promises that they can reunite you with the people who have departed, and Nora basically thinks that they built a machine that incinerates people, and it's obviously not real. But the actor, he does clearly believes in it, and he says he's ready to go to join, I guess, the cast members of his TV show. Nora then leaves the hotel, and she takes a phone with her on which the people behind it are going to call her on, to see if she's ready and willing to go for it. On her way back, she goes to the playground to see Lily. And there we see Christina as well, and she's obviously not supposed to be here. Lily doesn't recognize her, which is heartbreaking, and Christina asks her to leave. On her way back, Nora goes to see Erica. Also good to see her again. She seems to be doing fairly well. She has moved on because she was able to bury Evie, and she clearly doesn't believe that Evie is still alive or is going to reappear. As opposed to Gavin, not Kevin, that's the actor's name, what John does. Nora tells her what's been happening. She also explains the story about the cast. She did it to cover up, she had a Wu-Tang Clan tattoo to cover up the names of her departed children. And then she was ashamed about the tattoo because she didn't really know what it was. And then she broke her arm so that she could cover up the reminder of the reminder, basically. And then there's an hilarious scene where Erica and Nora go jumping on a trampoline together under the music of Wu-Tang Clan. Hilarious. Then Nora gets back to Jordan, and on the bridge she is stopped by Tommy in his squad car, and he had a phone call from Christine, and Christine is worried. She wants to know if it's going to happen again or not. Nora visiting Lily out of the blue and things like that. So they have a short talk, and Tommy's a little bit unfair to Nora, the way he says, because when Nora says that Lily has only brought her pain in the end, so she wished she never brought Lily to her, and then Tommy says, Lily wasn't meant for Nora, it was meant for Kevin, because he didn't even know at that point that Nora existed. It's true, but he didn't have to say it like that. It was really hurtful and callous, I think, of Tommy, because he does seem to like Nora, so I don't really understand why he had to bring it that way. Then when Nora comes home, she catches Kevin asphyxiating himself. He explains, but it's one person that can understand. I think it's Nora, because of course she, if you remember, hired prostitutes, to shoot her just to feel something, and now Kevin is asphyxiating himself just to feel something. So if one person can understand what Kevin's doing, it's Nora. Nora gets the phone call. She needs to go to Australia with $20,000. To get reunited with her children. So she tells Kevin that she's going to Australia. Kevin, not knowing why she's going to Australia, not exactly, asks if he can join, and Nora agrees. So I guess that's how we end up in Australia with the TV show. We then see a very weird final scene where we see a couple of women kidnapping a chief of police in Australia called Kevin as well. And they drowned him, thinking that he's going to rise again. When he doesn't, they realize that they might have the wrong person, and they take him out of the water, but he is dead. And then after that, a man comes out of a house, and it's Kevin's father, and he asks the ladies, like, what are you guys doing? So that's basically what happens in the second episode of The Leftovers. Don't be ridiculous. Okay, so what do I think about this episode? Well, I think it was another stellar episode and a perfect second episode. It's a follow-up to a very, very good season premiere. We focus on Nora, and Nora is such a good character. She is layered, she's complex, and I think it's very believable how she tries to deal with the pain and with her loss. And so I really love Carrie Coon as well, great actress, and this episode gave us a couple of answers. Focusing on what happened with Lily and the pain that Nora has because of it. And think about it. I mean, as I said before, I think it's been hinted at her traumatic childhood when both of her parents died. Was hinted at before, so that's of course terrible. Then she loses her entire family in the departure. Then she finds sort of hope in Lily, and then Lily gets taken away from her. Just as she asks Erica, how do you not go insane? I mean, she's been through a lot, and on its own, maybe the tattoo thing and the breaking the arm thing is silly, but if you put it in the context of what Nora has been through, I'm not going to say that it makes perfect sense, but I mean, it is understandable. I love her scene with Erica. It was just great. First the heart to heart, and then the trampoline. And if you check in the credits, Damon Lindelof and Tom Perrotta are also credited by their Shaolin names, and I think it was just a great find and hilarious, everything together. I also loved, I thought it was a strong scene, the one on the bridge with Tommy, even though he was a little bit cruel, I think, to her. It wasn't really necessary for him to say that, but it's a good reminder that Lily indeed was meant for Kevin, because yeah, he didn't know about Nora yet when he left the baby on his father's doorstep. What else? The whole, the man in the tower thing. I mean, I understand why Nora is so cynical, and she wanted to, reveal to everyone that it's not the departure, and it's also her job. But I think in this case, I mean, because nobody was claiming any money yet, she didn't really need to do that, because the people in Jordan had some hope, and they thought like, yes, he's the first one to go, and I think it was one day before the 7-year anniversary, and he's the first to go, and on the 7th-year anniversary, the rest of the people will go. Nobody knows yet what's going to happen, so I'm curious to see what actually happens on the 7-year anniversary. I think nothing, but let people at least have that hope for one day, you know what I mean? But no, cynical Nora and hurt Nora is not going to have any of that. And then the final scene, weird, yeah, definitely. I wonder, the timeline thing, what's going on there, even though Kevin's father looks to be the same age as he should be in present time, so I'm not sure if we're looking at 2 timelines or 3. I'm not sure what is happening there. I'm curious to see though who those women are, and why they're looking for or thinking, because if you think about it, that cop looked a little bit older than are the real Kevin, so is it the same timeline as the one where Nora pretends she doesn't know Kevin, and that she is going by the name of Sarah, or what's going on there? How many timelines do we have? I'm really curious to find out what's going on there. And one final note, the title sequence, like season 1, music from Max Richter, and with the whole painting type scene, I loved it. The second season with the pictures and the new song was great as well, because with the pictures of the departed in there, it was nicely done, and the music just fit. This one is the same pictures you see, I should say. So the graphics are the same, but now the music is from one of the TV shows. I'm not sure if it's actually the same one, if it's Perfect Strangers or another one, but I don't like it. It's goofy and it doesn't fit for me with the feeling of the show or nothing at all. So I'm not a fan of the title sequence of this final season, but hey, what can you do? I guess no show is perfect, not even The Leftovers. So thanks for watching. I'll try to catch up on the next episode shortly, only 2 days to go. It's called Crazy White Fella Thinking, so I'm curious to see what that's about. This one is directed by Mimi Leder again, so I'm curious to see what she does with it. So have a good weekend everyone, and I'll catch y'all next week.